Immigration changes affect everyone. Fewer permanent residency spots. Choose your program and your school wisely. The social services are stretched thin. Canada population has grown rapidly in recent years. Rent are skyrocketing. Fewer opportunities, more competition. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nurat, and if you're here, I say you're highly welcome. Okay, so guys, it's been a while I did a sit-down video like this, and I know you guys have missed me a lot, and trust me when I say that I also miss you a bunch. So today I'm just gonna head straight to the video, and the topic today is Canada's major immigration changes and how it affects immigrants and prospective immigrants. So if you are thinking of moving to Canada, or if you want to come study here, or if you're already here and you're looking into transitioning to permanent residency, then I bet this video is for you. So recently, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, just made a statement or announcement recently, and this is about the significant changes that is happening to immigration policy. And trust me when I say this immigration changes is really going to affect everyone, and that is from international students, or if you're looking to transition to permanent residency, for skilled workers, and even families open to reunite with their families here in Canada. So all of these changes are going to impact everyone generally. So in this video, I'll be breaking down the key changes that you need to know, and these are the fewer permanent residency spots, as well as the stricter rules for temporary visas. The government plans to reduce immigrants over the next few years. And more importantly, I'll help you understand why this changes is happening and how they might affect your journey to Canada and what step you can take to stay ahead. So I want you to stay tuned, pay attention, and let's get started. So I would like to start with this overview. As we all know that Canada has been a global leader in welcoming immigrants with ambitious targets to boost the economy, fuel labor shortages, and support growth. And now the government is taking a new approach entirely. So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recently announced a plan to reduce immigration targets, and this is in terms of permanent residents and temporary workers. Well, according to him, the country's rapid immigration growth is putting a strain on housing, infrastructure, and as well as social services. And the government feels it's time to slow things down. So here's the thing, guys. This isn't just a minor tweak. It's a major shift that is going to affect tens of thousands of people that are looking to make Canada their home. Now, let's talk about the key changes so that you can know exactly how they might affect you. The first major change is that there are going to be a fewer permanent residents moving forward. So now, let's start with 2025. The initial plan was to welcome about 500,000 new immigrants to Canada as permanent residents, but now it has been reduced to 395,000 immigrants. So you can see that this is a huge gap from 500,000 new immigrants to 395,000 immigrants. And that's not just all, guys. On to 2026, the targets even drop lower to about 380,000 immigrants. So you can see that every year now the target continues to reduce. And by 2027, only 365,000 new immigrants as permanent residents are going to be approved to come over to live in Canada as a PR. So this is just the 3 years that we have, like they've talked about on the internet so far. And only God knows, in the future, it could even go down or even go really reduced than this. This is a big reduction, guys, and it simply means there are going to be fewer spots for permanent residents moving forward. So if you're planning to come to Canada as a permanent resident, either through express entry or provincial nomination, or even family sponsorship, you'll need to prepare thoroughly and ensure that your application is strong enough to withstand the wind that there is to come. So what can you do to do this? You need to focus on some key area to ensure that you are highly competitive in the pool, or either the express entry pool or the provincial nomination profile. So you can do this by ensuring that you have a very good language score, good work experience, like a number of years of work experience. All of these are going to allocate more points to you. Now, let's talk about the next major change, and this is the stricter rules for temporary residents. Here, the government is cutting down on the number of temporary workers they are welcoming to Canada, as well as international students. And currently, temporary workers make up about 6.5% of the entire Canada's population. But now, Canada is planning to reduce this number to 5% over the next 3 years. And this simply means that fewer people are going to be considered for temporary resident visas and also student visas moving forward over the next 3 years plan. So if you're planning on moving to Canada either as a student or as worker, here's what you need to keep in mind. One of it is that the visa approval may get even stricter. The government of Canada might prioritize some students in high demand fields or certain post-secondary institutions. depending. So it's very important to choose your program and your school wisely. The other is a cap on work permit. Some industries may start to see new limits on temporary workers, whilst making it harder to get jobs in certain sectors. And for those that are already in Canada on temporary visa, transitioning to permanent residency might also be very, very challenging. Programs like PGWP, which is the postgraduate work permit, and other pathways for essential workers may experience tighter immigration policy or regulation. Now let's talk about why Canada is doing these major changes. In case you're wondering why this changes is happening, the main reason is actually on housing and infrastructure. Canada population has grown rapidly in recent years, and thanks to immigration numbers. Now the government admits that they haven't been able to keep up with the demand for housing, infrastructure, and as well as social services. Right now in Canada, rent are skyrocketing. Buying a home is seem like a dream that will never come true to so many immigrants. They are so unaffordable, and the social services are stretched thin. There are long queues at the hospitals, the buses are always filled up, and so many things are not just working. And the Canada's government is taking this huge step to ensure that they combat this before it goes even further. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said, and I quote, "We didn't get the balance right this time." So these changes are meant to give Canada's time to address this issue and for them to build more capacity for future immigrants. Well, while this might feel like a setback, it's very important to understand the government's vision for the future. And that is to ensure that immigrants have all the resources they need to succeed once they arrive Canada. And I believe these make a whole lot of sense. Right? Now, let's dive in more on how these changes might affect different groups. For prospective immigrants, if you're planning to apply for permanent residency, I want to assure you that you're going to face fewer opportunities and more competition. And this simply means that it's very, very important to have a high score in the express entry pool or meet specific provincial nominee program requirements under a particular PMP. It's also important for you to stay proactive, keep an eye on updates, gather all the relevant documents early, and in some cases, you could consider to work with a registered license. I repeat, consider working with a licensed and a registered immigration agent if you really need this. Like, I believe anybody should be able to carry out their own or to do all the research, but there are some information that is not open or even available to you online. So if you feel that you are lacking in some sport and you feel like using an immigration agent or consultant will help you out, ensure you seek for the right one so you don't get scammed. Now let's talk about for temporary residents. So for international students and workers generally. If you're coming to Canada on a temporary basis, you need to be more strategic in your plan. Choose programs that align with in-demand skills or industries. And for workers, you'll need to focus on sectors, the industries that are having labor shortages, where labor shortages are very critical. This could give you an edge when you're applying for PR or transitioning to PR, and that's if you're already here in Canada. So now, if you are currently in Canada on temporary basis, transitioning to PR might get even more stricter than before. I'll encourage that you look for an alternative pathway and make sure that you are prepared to adapt if new changes occur in the future, because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow. The immigration policy keeps changing. Now, to round this up, to stay ahead on these changes, here are my top tips that I feel could work for anybody. The first is to stay informed. And what do I mean by this? Like I'd mentioned before, immigration policy in Canada now changes overnight. And it's important for you to stay updated by getting credible news from government websites, as well as seeking for regular updates so as to stay informed of any new changes that might come. The second tip is for you to start early in your application. Do not wait up until the last minute to apply for your PR, your study permit, or even your work permit. The earlier you start, the better. My third tip is to strengthen your profile. So like I'd mentioned before, focus on improving your language skill, either in French speaking or in English, whichever one. Ensure that you gain relevant work experience, and also make sure that you meet all the relevant necessary requirements that would be needed on your profile when applying for PR or some sort of permits. And my last tip, which is the number 4, is for you to seek professional advice. If you're feeling uncertain, consider consulting a licensed immigration consultant or agent just to guide you through the process. So guys, I'll encourage that you don't give up on your dream of moving to Canada if you're still planning to move. If you can put into action all of these tips that I've just shared, I'm sure that at the end of the day, you might get something worthwhile, right? So this doesn't mean that Canada is shutting its door entirely or completely on immigrants. It means that they're evolving and they are looking for better ways to accommodate people, better ways to make things available. I mean, it's not going to be a good thing for you to come over and then you're lacking all the things that you already have back in your home country. So they're trying to make this country more better. So try to understand and do your due diligence and do the right thing to apply and gather all relevant document like I mentioned. And I know that this is just the things you can do for now. Canada still remains a land of opportunity, and with the right plan, you can still achieve your dream. So that's it for today's video, guys, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. So let me know in the comment section how these changes might affect you or someone you know. And do not forget to give this video a thumbs up. Share this video with anyone you feel might need it or might need to hear the current happenings or changes in Canada. And do subscribe to my channel if you've not. Stay glued to my channel for more updates on immigration, life in Canada, and tips to help you succeed. I'll see you again in my next video. Bye.